is a Lute Dulcimer sent to me by Wild Sparrow Strings, and I absolutely love this instrument. It's just the perfect like travel carrying size for when you want to go adventuring out in the woods. It's got this lovely strap, and it also came with this absolutely perfect case as well as a notebook to write down all of your songs within it. And this thing is just absolutely amazing. It's got a knob for the strap as well as a hole up at the headstock specifically for the strap. The headstock has this kind of cutaway with the pegs going through it, which is somewhat reminiscent of a lute's peg box, except it still has machine gear heads, which is very nice for if you want to keep an instrument in tune. I do like that it has the same lute-like aesthetic while keeping the modern comfort of gears. The instrument is a 3-course instrument, meaning it's technically got 4 strings, but one of the strings is played, or 2 of these strings are played as 1 string, or 1 course of strings, and they're tuned to the same note, so you fret and strum them at the exact same time. This instrument is usually diatonic, meaning you would play where these black marks are, but I specifically asked for chromatic, which just gives me a lot more range of noises and sounds, but these black marks make it so that if you play along this string and strum these as just open or like drone strings, you can hit basically any note anywhere and it'll sound pretty good and it will fit mostly within the key, making this an incredibly easy instrument to like just pick up and immediately play. Since it's got only 4 strings, it's super easy. Oh man, windy and cold. The instrument has history dating back to around the 1500s, and although the exact history and exact evolution of this instrument is a bit unclear, it stems from the Appalachian or Rocky Mountain dulcimer, as well as a bunch of other instruments called dulcimers that could have been brought from Germany or Ireland and Scotland when people started immigrating to America. It's a fairly modern instrument in the grand scheme of instruments, but the fantasy style that Wild Sparrow Strings puts into their instruments just fits perfectly with any medieval or fantasy world. Despite not technically being an instrument that you would see as super far back in the medieval era, it still would fit really well, and nobody would be like, oh, that's not supposed to be there if you had it at like a Renaissance fair or any like fantasy world or even a reenactment. If you're looking for an instrument that's going to be easy to play and fit into a fantasy setting, or just a fun instrument to play, I cannot recommend them more. Their craftsmanship is absolutely amazing. Like I said earlier, this thing is like just the perfect travel size. It is really easy to tune, it's quick to get out and learn, and it's just amazing. All of the songs that you'll be seeing in the next couple minutes are what I've learned after only about an hour or 2 of playing this instrument, and it's just a very quick learn, and it just sounds so good. Most of their designs are inspired by medieval fantasy as well as like natural elements such as like leaves and stuff, which I think is just the coolest aesthetic to possibly have, especially in instruments, which we don't really see that in instruments as much as we should. The instruments that Wild Sparrow Strings are all handmade and absolutely amazing. This one that I have here is a royal design, and it's got my logo hand carved into the sound hole, which I just think is such an amazingly cool touch. I physically cannot recommend these instruments enough. They're just so fun to play and so easy to just pick up, and they sound so freaking good. Despite how easy they are to learn and play, Wild Sparrow Strings has tutorials on it on their YouTube and their Instagram, which I would highly recommend go checking out.